Voices in the vents. Arib thought he got lucky. A 2-bedroom duplex in the city, dirt cheap, no roommates. Sure, it was old, faded walls, buzzing lights, and vents that rattled when the wind blew. But it was his. The landlord told him the unit next door was vacant. Had been for years. Still, every night, just after 2 a.m., Arib would hear voices. At first, he thought it was neighbors. Or maybe the pipes. But the voices weren't muffled. They were close. Whispers traveling through the vents, quiet, broken sentences. Then they started saying his name. Not yelling. Not screaming. Just calmly. Over and over. Arib. Arib, are you listening yet? One night, he crouched next to the vent in his bedroom and listened. The voice on the other side sounded just like him. Then the vent exhaled, warm, damp air. And whispered. We're almost through. Chapter 1, Something's Living in the Walls. It started with scratching. Not loud. Not frantic. Just faint, slow, deliberate. It came from the wall behind the fridge. Then above the bathroom. Then from the vent near the ceiling in his bedroom. Arib blamed mice. He called the landlord. They shrugged it off, old buildings make noise. But it wasn't just the scratching. It was the pauses. The way the sound would stop the moment he entered the room. And how, sometimes, it started again the second he turned off the lights. 3 nights in, it got worse. He was brushing his teeth when he heard something behind the mirror, a tap. Followed by a soft shuffle, then another tap, like a knuckle brushing metal. He froze. The bathroom vent was directly behind him. He didn't look at it. He couldn't. At 2:17 a.m., the sound came back. Not scratching this time. Whispers. Faint and jumbled, like someone talking through a wall of water. He sat up in bed, heart hammering, trying to place where it was coming from. The vent. The one above his bed. He stood on his mattress and leaned in, holding his breath. The whispering stopped. Then something breathed. Warm air. Directly into his face. He didn't sleep. The next day, he taped cardboard over every vent he could reach. He blasted music. Left the TV on. But that night, the sound returned. Muffled. Mournful. Just one word this time. Arib. His name. Spoken with a smile. And when he tore the tape off the vent in a panic, there were fingerprints in the dust inside the duct. From the inside. Chapter 2, The unit next door is empty. The first time Arib knocked, he told himself it was to be polite. A quick tap on the door of Unit 2B, just to ask if they'd been hearing things, too. Whispers. Scratches. Breathing. No answer. The second time, he knocked harder. Still nothing. But as he turned to leave, he thought he heard something shift inside the apartment. A slow drag, like furniture being moved across the floor, or someone crawling on hands and knees. He looked through the peephole. Darkness. Just an empty hallway. He asked the landlord again. There's no one next door, the man said flatly. That unit's sealed. Pipes burst years ago. Mold issue. It's condemned. Arib asked why it didn't look condemned. The landlord didn't answer. Just hung up. That night, the whispers were louder. But not just from the vents this time. From the shared wall. Not words, laughter. A deep, guttural chuckle that vibrated the wall behind his bed frame. Arib got up. Heart hammering. He pressed his ear to the drywall. Nothing. Then. Knocking. 3 short knocks. From the other side. Like someone was standing on the other side of the wall, knocking back. He pounded on it. Screamed. Silence. Until just before dawn, when he opened his front door and found a note slid under the mat. Scrawled in charcoal, barely legible. Stop listening. Chapter 3, The Whisper Game. Arid wanted proof. He set up his phone near the bedroom vent. Hit record. Then waited in the dark. The whispering came, just like before. Soft. Liquid. Right at 2:13 a.m. It was definitely saying something. He didn't dare move. Just listen. Don't be afraid of your voice. Then it repeated the sentence, but slower. Don't be afraid. He stopped the recording. Hands shaking, he hit play. Nothing. No voice. No whispering. Only a low hiss of static, until the very last 3 seconds. We hear you too. That night, he spoke back. He waited by the vent and whispered, "Who are you?" No answer. But the next night, a response came. We're what comes after the echo. The vent exhaled again. Warmer this time. Ari backed away. He didn't sleep. The third night, he found his closet door open. Inside, the vent had been unscrewed. And written inside the metal duct, smeared in dust, were the words. Your voice opened it. Now the whispering doesn't wait until 2 a.m. Now, it follows him. In the bathroom. In the kitchen. In his dreams. And sometimes. It speaks with his voice. Chapter 4, Don't Let It See You Listen. Arib hadn't left the apartment in 3 days. The air felt thicker. The lights dimmer. The vent covers seemed newer. Like they'd been replaced while he slept. He stopped recording. He stopped replying. He thought if he ignored it long enough, the voice would go away. But that only made it angrier. He started hearing the voice in places that had no vents, inside drawers, through the faucet, under the mattress. You're still listening, it hissed. We see you hear us. He covered every vent with cloth, nailed them shut. He unplugged the TV. The fridge. Turned off the breaker. But when the apartment went silent, it laughed. Not loud. Not human. Guttural. Wet. Like something laughing through a flooded throat. Then the mirrors began to change. First, his reflection lagged by a second. Then it smiled when he didn't. Tilted its head the wrong way. And then one night, as he passed the mirror without looking, the reflection kept staring at the vent. He ran. Tried to open the front door. It was gone. Just a blank wall where the exit used to be. A vent above the door opened slowly. And from inside, a voice that was no longer trying to whisper said, "You looked too long. Now we're watching back." Chapter 5, Through the Ducts. Arib hadn't spoken in days. He'd stopped making noise entirely, no music, no phone, no whispers. He breathed slowly. Walked softly. Avoided the vents like they were open mouths. But it was too late. He'd already played the whisper game. And now they were inside. The walls weren't hollow anymore. They pulsed. They listened. Sometimes they even answered, not with words, but with breath. Heat. Pressure. He began finding things that weren't his, a child's shoe under his bed, a broken doll behind the fridge, a tape recorder inside his pillowcase. On it. You hear us better in the dark. That night, something knocked from inside the floor vent. Not a scratch. Not a whisper. A knock. Followed by the sound of flesh dragging metal. He stood, frozen, until the vent cover slowly popped off by itself. No tools, no hands. Just, invitation. Ari leaned down. And the voice that sounded like his own whispered. "We're not in the walls anymore. We're under your skin." He didn't run. He crawled in. The duct swallowed him like a throat, metal warm and wet, narrowing with every turn. Behind him, the vent resealed. Ahead, the voice grew louder, not one, but many. All whispering in rhythm. We watched. You listened. Now come see what you've let in. He was never found. But sometimes, in apartments just like his, someone hears whispers through the walls. If they answer, even once, the ducts open again. And someone new comes through.